Joy-filled Thursday. Today I would like to talk about accountability. Accountability and being empowered with accountability. What is accountability? On a basic level, accountability is being responsible for yourself. What does that look like? Being responsible for your thoughts, for your emotions, for your body, for your actions, for your choices, for your journey in life. Being accountable, being responsible for yourself. So, oftentimes, I'll use this example. I hear from people, you know what, my friend said this and I felt some type of way and I was just angry and I was just so upset. How could they say that? How could they think like that? Okay, so we'll break that down. Accountability. Someone said something to you, you felt some type of way, and your emotional response is anger. So, if you keep saying, my friend made me angry, they always make me feel some type of way, you're disempowering yourself, and you're saying that your friend has to say it a different way, or they have to change their thoughts, or they have to change their perspective for you to feel okay. And if they don't change their thoughts and perspective in the way they speak about something, you won't be okay. So your feelings and emotions are like a yo-yo or a slingshot back and forth because you're dependent on what they say and how they say it for you to be balanced and regulated and okay, which is really disempowering. So oftentimes we walk around saying, you made me angry, they made me angry, that person made me angry. And yes, they could have said something that you didn't agree with. They could have said something that wasn't right for you. They could have said something, that triggered you, because we all have things that we've been through. So yes, they could have said something true. However, if you take ownership and accountability for your thoughts, your perspective about what they said, your emotions, your feelings, your responses, your reactions about what they said, it can become empowering instead of disempowering. So instead of saying, you made me angry, they made me angry, you can say, I was triggered, I was angry, I felt some type of way. Maybe I need to take a moment and think about this. What did they say? How did they say it? And why did I respond this way? And that can actually lead you to so many things about yourself or the friend that you're dealing with that either helps you deal with them easier or helps you distance and love from afar, however you're going to deal with that situation. But when you own and you figure out why you respond the way you respond, why you think the way you think about it, and why you're feeling dysregulated, then you can do something about that. So once again, accountability, real life accountability. For example, if you ask someone that's in recovery from alcohol, they will tell you, I'm an alcoholic for life. I'm recovering for life. This is something I'm going to be working on for life. They have taken responsibility and accountability for their thoughts, for their feelings, for their behaviors, for their actions. Yes, they could have had childhood traumas. Yes, they could have been abandoned, lived in poverty, been abused, neglected, all these things that led to them using alcohol and alcohol becoming an addiction. None of that is right. But once they accept that they're an alcoholic, they have something that they need to work on, and that they need to work on it forever for the rest of their lives. They become empowered for the continuous work versus looking around them and blaming their parent, the system, whoever did what to them. Taking accountability becomes empowering, and you can continue to grow when you're empowered versus when you're victimized and you are stuck and stagnant, pointing the finger and playing the blame game of why you are in your situation right now. Things happen to us, but in this present moment, we all have choices. So once again, I'll never practice what I don't preach. I practice what I preach. I walk it like I talk it. So one of my weaknesses, one of my flaws that I will be working on for the rest of my life is, emotional regulation and anger And I am not ashamed to admit and stand up in front of any room or anybody and say, I have emotional regulation challenges. I have anger challenges. I have a temper. A lot of people don't see it because it's 13 plus years of work. I'm my best client, working on myself, taking accountability and responsibility for my thoughts, feelings, and actions. So I had to look at my history. I had to really look at situations with friends, situations and relationships, situations with business relationships and partnerships and jobs and things like that, to figure out, like, hey, I get angry, and I can get angry, and I can say things I don't want to say, and I could be somebody I don't want to be, and I don't like that. So yes, I can say, oh, he made me angry, oh, she said this, oh, he did that, oh, they did this. I could do that all day for every situation. But it wasn't until about 13 years ago, doing this counseling work for real, that I decided to take responsibility for my anger and for my emotional regulation. And when I took responsibility and named it, my emotion, and I owned it, then I had to go back and figure out where it came from, where it stemmed from, and to really analyze it and study it. Not as a crutch, not nothing to lean on, but to learn and grow, to figure out why I respond in this way, why I react in this way, why I feel triggered, why I have a temper, why I see red, why. And for my own self, I had to go back, and okay, so maybe it does have something to do with the fact from 0 to 3, I don't remember, but by stories of my own father and my mother. My father is bipolar and had mental health issues, and, did all kinds of things with my mom when she was pregnant, and went from 0 to 3, which is pivotal for child development. Hiding in bushes, painting his face and hiding, jumping out on her, scaring her, following her, stalking her, living in the attic for months without her knowing, hiding, like he put my mom through all kinds of things. Mentally, he was not there, and even had to be committed to an institution. I didn't know all this when I was younger, but talking with my mother, rest in peace, and my father, who thankfully I met 6 years ago before my mom died, because he wasn't in my life, but talking to him and having conversations with him and her, I could see from 0 to 3 and 4, oh, okay, this is what's going on with me. And that could be why I have problems with emotional regulation and anger and things like that. Okay, continue on. Okay, stepfather, 4 years old, calling 911, calling the police, scared that he was going to kill my mom. Anxious, fearful, from 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, domestic violence, seeing her, fight, knowing alcohol and drugs had a hold of my stepfather, being in poverty, being in the hood when the riots kicked off, growing up with the 60s, being in the hood with the gangbangers, growing up in the jungles, being in the hood with the gangbangers, growing up with 20s, being in the hood with the gangbangers, violence, drugs, fights in my house, in the streets, outside of my house. Okay, I can see a little bit, where the anger stems from. And we continue to fast forward, 16, other stepdad got strung out on crack and cocaine, lost his mind, and decided he wanted to murder my mom in front of myself and my little brother. And I had to fight for her life. 16 years old, armed up with knives, fighting for my mom's life, trying to save her, trying to protect my little brother, So, just looking at how I grew up and my own set of trauma and my own set of environment and genetics, and my mom struggled with mental health issues. My mom was abused when she was younger. So looking at where I came from, a mother and father with mental health issues, a mother and father that have been through abuse and trauma, growing up in South Central Los Angeles during the riots, during the crack era, doing all these gangs and violence and all this trauma. Thankfully my mom's foot on neck and continued to push me in all kind of different directions so my trauma and labels would not become the person that I would grow to be. But I could see, looking back in a brief review of my life, why I might have anger problems, why I might have challenges regulating my emotions, why I might be defensive, why I might live in fear sometimes, and why specifically with men, I deal with things around that. You know, my dad, my brother's dad, my stepdad. There's a lot of other men that had an influence on my journey in life. So owning that I have emotional regulation challenges, temper challenges, anger challenges, going back to figure out why I had these challenges, what happened, how I grew up, really investigating, becoming a detective of me and my life, then put me in a position to be able to own my feelings, take accountability for my thoughts, my feelings, emotions, and my responses and reactions to work hard to do something different. So once I owned my own triggers and trauma, once I figured out why these things were in me, and then I put things, strategies, tips, tools, a lot of counseling, a lot of Reiki, a lot of yoga, a lot of walks, a lot of nutrition, health, sunlight, sunshine, gym, meditation, working out, you know, a lot of holistic mind, body things, mind, body, spirit, things I've been doing for the past 13 years, which is why, you know, I am able to regulate myself better, which is why I'm able to handle my temper better and my anger better. Not that I don't get angry, not that I don't have a temper, not that I don't get upset. In most situations, 90% of my day, I do not. I am calm, cool, collected, easygoing, joy-filled, empathetic, compassionate, loving, giving, spiritual, happy, joy-filled. I'm all that. But it's about a 9 to 10% sometimes where I have been known, you know, to step outside of my higher elevated self and to go back to my lower vibrational self. And I've had to learn that, hey, this is something I'm dealing with for life. So I have to be my biggest champion and be my biggest cheerleader and pick myself up when I fall. When I am weak, he is strong, and get strength, and knowing that I am working to become better and better and better. And, you know, my source is not through it yet. And through each trial and tribulation where I pop off and get angry, I'm learning something more. I'm growing something more. I'm working as hard as I can on all levels to own it. You know, and although I can still look at people, places, and things and be like, you said this, you did this, and this is why, and I'm, you know, all that, I can still point to and blame others for me being upset. But that does not help me. That does not challenge me. That does not push me. That does not help me grow. And so once I decide, you know, okay, yeah, you said this and I didn't like that, then I have to decide, okay, but what could you have done? Could you have walked away? Could you have tabled this? Could you have just, you know, got outside and took some deep breaths? Could you have, you know, say I need to go talk to my counselor real quick because I need to, you know, what is it that I could have done to help myself in a situation, regulate myself so I don't have to be dependent on another person, place, or thing staying in line or saying everything I want them to say or not pushing my buttons. So no longer will people own my emotions. No longer will people own how I think, how I feel, and how I react, because now I own how I think, how I feel, and how I respond. So this is a little longer than most of them because it was on my heart. I am not perfect, and I do not pretend to be on any levels. But I do take accountability and responsibility for who I am on all levels. So I want to challenge you to practice that. When you notice you feel some type of way, own that feeling. No matter who said it, who did it, own that feeling. Maybe you need to walk away. Maybe you need to table the conversation. Maybe you need to go journal, meditate, go to sleep, take a shower, pray to Buddha, pray to Jesus, you know, whoever it is you talk to. But do something different so you can get something different. All right. Have a blessed day. Enjoy your day on purpose.